That was a wonderful introduction, and absolutely everything that was said is true. Peace education is incorporated in the Montessori curriculum and also should be and can be implemented in a Montessori home environment as well with parents and caregivers. Before we dive in and explore this topic a little more, I'd like to take just a few moments to introduce myself as the host and the creator of this presentation for anyone who might be joining one of my classes for the first time. So my name is Heather White. I'm a former Montessori classroom teacher, administrator, and in-home caregiver with more than 15 years of experience in the world of Montessori. Currently, I work as an educational coach. I fulfill multiple roles with the Center for Guided Montessori Studies, which is an organization who supports adult learners who are working to receive their teaching certification in the world of Montessori. I'm their alumni coordinator, their conference coordinator, professional development coordinator. I also am an instructional guide for those adult learners who are obtaining their teaching certification. I'm also a blog writer and content creator for a few other organizations, such as the American Montessori Society, Guide and Grow, and Miro's Toys. I hold certifications from the American Montessori Society at the 3 to 6 and 6 to 9 levels. And I also have experience working with children 0 to 3 and 9 to 12 as well. I have a master's in education with a concentration in Montessori studies and an education specialist degree in school psychology. I am also a nationally certified school psychologist. So during our time together today, we're going to start by exploring the foundation of peace education from Dr. Maria Montessori's perspective. Then we'll take a look at what peace education is and how it's presented in various Montessori classrooms across different levels. So we'll look at that 0 to 6 age group. Then we'll look at what it looks like when a child's a little bit older, those elementary levels. And we'll also look at something that is really, really particular to the Montessori philosophy in classroom, which is the use of a peace table or a peace corner within those environments. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have been to one of my sessions before, you know, I always like to start with a quote when possible. I really feel like it grounds our time together and really gives us a focus. So as I often do, here is a quote from Dr. Maria Montessori, who said, "Peace is what every human being is craving for, and it can be brought about by humanity through the child." So this is where we'll find inspiration for our time together today for the topic of peace education, knowing that peace is what we all crave as human beings, and that the way that we can really achieve world peace, that goal for the UN that we were discussing at the beginning of the presentation, is really by helping to instill these values in our children, the children that we share a relationship with, whether that's as an educator, a parent, or a caregiver, even a friend or a family member. By helping children learn about peace and how to be peaceful, that's really the way that we can make the world a more peaceful place. So then what did Maria Montessori have to say about peace? Peace is a core component of the Montessori method and philosophy that Dr. Maria Montessori devised. Dr. Maria Montessori is considered actually to be the founder of peace education. Even Gandhi praised Maria Montessori's approach to world peace. Maria Montessori believed that children need to be provided lessons on things like global citizenship, diversity, equality, unity. After surviving 2 world wars and spending a lifetime observing the development of children, Maria Montessori understood this unique link that existed between the education of our younger generation and the desire to accomplish world peace. She held what she called peace conferences in many European countries from the years of 1932 to 1939. And this was later published as a work called Education and Peace. So you can actually find it now. It's a book that kind of includes all of those sharing that she gave at those peace conferences in Europe. Interestingly, Dr. Maria Montessori was also nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1949, 1950, and again in 1951. Although she did not win, she received a total of 6 nominations for her work related to peace. Something that I think is really important to consider when it comes to peace education is that peace begins within us. We must first be able to embrace peace ourselves. We have to work to find our own peace if we want to help children find it as well. This is what Maria Montessori called spiritual preparation. It's this process of transforming ourselves into the person that we want to be and that the child needs us to be. We need to be mindful of our actions, our tone, the way that we say things, the words that we use, and also our body language. We need to muster this abundance of patience and calmness so that we set an example for children of how to embrace and embody this peaceful state of being. We need to make sure that we're taking enough time to take care of ourselves, that we are giving ourselves an opportunity to reflect and to recharge, because that's what's going to allow us to enter those challenging moments better equipped with the tools that we need to remain calm and to help children solve their problems. In the classroom, this might look like pausing and observing when we start to feel frustrated or we start to feel overwhelmed, or we just find that we need to take a moment. If we just step back and to start to look around and see what's happening in the environment, we can find things that we're grateful for, things that are going well, things that make us smile. And this is a really great way to model for children how they can regulate themselves as well. It's a tool that could even be used in the home environment, right? It doesn't even need to be with children. Let's say you're at home with a spouse or with siblings or even with other family members or friends. Just take a moment to step back when you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated and really look for things to be grateful for, things that make you smile, things that are going well. And this is what's going to not only allow us to find a sense of peace and calm, but again, when we're in the presence of children, it's going to serve as a model for them to know how to do that as well. And the idea is the better that we do with finding our inner peace, with regulating our emotions, the better that they'll be equipped to do as well. So the aim of peace education is really to equip students with the interpersonal skills that they need to be a well-functioning, successful member of a thriving community. Educators, parents, caregivers encourage self-reflection, conflict resolution, and problem solving. They model ways to communicate. They offer positive language choices and steer children in the direction that they need to go in order to best reach a conclusion. As children start to navigate conflicts and how to solve them with their peers, they also discover this innate capability, this internal confidence, if you will, and how to lead themselves and how to lead others through these hardships. So it really is this intrinsic motivation, this belief in themselves that they develop, and being empowered to navigate their own feelings, to find that regulation, that emotional regulation within themselves, but then also to help other peers, friends, family members solve conflicts amicably as well. For younger children, and I apologize, that picture looks pixelated. It is not on my screen when I made the PowerPoint. So I guess when it became much larger, it became pixelated. But for young children, and when we say young children, early childhood, primary, we're talking about the ages of 3 to 6 specifically. It can apply a little bit to toddler ages, 2.5 as well, but mostly 3 to 6. So at this level, peace education manifests itself through a very calm classroom environment where children feel that they are welcomed, they feel a sense of trust and belonging, where they can learn about sharing or taking turns, effective communication, and healthy ways to work through those conflicts with others. Teachers and older children in the environment, because in Montessori we use those mixed age classrooms. So like I said, it's a 3 to 6 environment. So children 3, 4, 5, and those 5-year-olds turning 6 are all in the same classroom together. So those older children, those 5 and 6-year-olds, are also alongside the teacher modeling productive ways to work through experiencing negative or overwhelming emotions, or work through how to solve conflicts with others. A framework for modeling peace that is found in the Montessori curriculum is called grace and courtesy. And these are lessons that really give children the confidence to solve problems, to learn, they're really social skills, how to live alongside and communicate with others effectively. So participating in these grace and courtesy skits, if you will, because they can often be like role playing, really gives children the confidence that they need to be able to function not only in the classroom, but in the world at large. And as Montessori teachers, then, if we're looking at just the classroom in and of itself, not outside in the home environment, but just in the classroom, as Montessori educators, then this grace and courtesy gives us this built-in foundation, if you will, for peace education. All we really need to do is come up with the appropriate lessons to teach these social skills to children, to model these social skills for them, and they really start to pick it up and start to use it very organically. So while the entire classroom is designed to really promote peaceful learning and peaceful interactions amongst the children, most Montessori classrooms have a designated space. It's that peace table or peace corner I mentioned earlier that allow children this controlled environment, this controlled space within the classroom where they can work through their emotions, where they can go through that process of self-regulation, and where they can resolve a conflict with another child. Montessori schools utilize these specially designed tools to really promote experiential and sensorial learning, where students can repeatedly practice this process of self-regulation and conflict resolution at each age level. And one tool is known as the Peace Rose. So the Peace Rose is where children learn to take turns, and it was actually cut off in this photo, but here in this vase, there is a rose that is hidden behind these leaves. The idea is that children use this rose that they pass back and forth, taking turns, and while they're holding it, they're able to speak about how they feel. They stay in this peace corner at this peace table until they both feel that they've come to some kind of solution, some kind of resolution, where they feel that they've been acknowledged and validated, and they've worked together to find a solution where they feel that they're at a state of peace, that they're calm, and they're ready to go back to their work. They're ready to go back into the larger classroom environment. Here is another image of a peace corner or a peace table. You can see some things that might be in these areas are books about peace. There might be some kind of candle. The jar that's shown here is known as a calming jar or a sensory jar, something that the children can shake. And inside there's liquid, and then there's usually glitter, so that the children can watch it settle. Other things that you might find would be a small tabletop Zen garden. There might be a plant with a calming scent like lavender. Some people might have a diffuser in this area with a calming essential oil like lavender or eucalyptus. There might be a way that children can listen to calming music. There might be some yoga cards and a yoga mat where they can practice yoga or meditation that's been modeled for them. For very young children, so we're thinking about that toddler age and that early childhood environment, there might be things like a stuffed animal that they can hold that might bring them comfort. There might be pictures of a photo album with pictures of their family members in it. something that's comforting, that brings them a sense of security, that helps them regulate their feelings. And then often, if they're utilizing that peace object, so it could be a rose, it could be a rock, that's often found in the peace area as well. Here is another image of what a peace area might look like. And you can see here, this is more of just a shelf. So there's an image of Dr. Maria Montessori, just to provide some inspiration for the children. There's a little music box, so just some soothing noise for them, something to listen to help them calm down. You can see the rose here, along with the book, The Peace Rose, which this idea of using a peace object and a rose specifically kind of originated from. So that's something that's often read in a Montessori classroom to introduce children to the idea of a peace object and a peace rose specifically. So we've talked a lot and focused mostly so far on that early childhood age, that 3 to 6, a little bit of that toddler, 2-year-old age as well. So then what does peace education look like as a child gets older and introduces or enters, I'm sorry, the elementary age? So older children are really ready to tackle more complex topics of peace and to learn how to really be productive global citizens, is what Dr. Montessori called her focus on this area, global citizenship. So really how to be productive, peaceful, harmonious members of the larger society, whether that's the classroom or outside of the classroom as well. So at the elementary level is when a child's imagination really takes off. So children at this age really enjoy role playing and solving problems in small groups together. Elementary and adolescent students, so that next plane of development, also regularly participate in community outreach and partner with local volunteer organizations to learn how to give back as well. Montessori classrooms run as autonomously as possible, and resolving conflicts is not any different. So after students have been shown how to effectively communicate their feelings and their needs, it's not unusual for older elementary students and middle school students to hold what are known as student-led meetings or student-led conferences or community meetings, where they're the ones who are deciding what to discuss, how to brainstorm, and come up with resolutions for their own conflicts. They take different jobs and different roles in these meetings. Someone might be the timekeeper, someone's the secretary writing down notes, someone's in charge of the agenda, where they go through the different topics that might have been put into a mailbox or dropped into a basket or written on a list from the last time that they had a community meeting. And then the person who controls the agenda goes through those items and they discuss them in order. There's usually someone who leads the meeting, someone who opens and closes it. There's usually someone who helps to make sure that everyone's remaining calm and respectful, like a tone keeper. So really, they're taking ownership of these opportunities to work through their problems and solve them on their own. As they learn about different issues as well that face their local and broader communities, so outside of the classroom, right? Or even at the school outside of their classroom, not just the larger community around them, they also start to brainstorm ways to make systems more equitable and ways that they can offer support in those situations as well. So this might look like hosting a drive to gather pet food or towels and cages or blankets, things that a local animal shelter or a pet rescue might need. It might be organizing a food drive so that they're able to donate food to local community members in need. There was recently a school that I read an article about that built their own food pantry. So it's if you're familiar with the concept of a lending library or a little library, it's the same idea, but there was this pantry that they built in front of their school, and the community, the school community, They invited the school community to continuously stock it with dry goods, non-perishable goods, and it was available for anyone to access that needed it. Along those same lines, when I mentioned the little free library, there was another school of upper elementary students that I read about recently that did that. They built and stocked their own little free library, donating books that they had from home and welcoming donations from the school so that anyone in the broader community could come and borrow books. They encourage them to donate books as well. So a lot of creativity where children are not only solving problems that come up at the elementary and adolescent level amongst themselves, but also in the broader school and extended community too. And this goes right hand in hand with what Maria Montessori believed, that by raising generations of children who really embrace living respectful, peaceful lives, that we're really able to contribute to this world peace that we're all seeking. We did mention it briefly at the opening of the presentation for those of you who were there then, about the idea of peace being something that the United Nations sees as a goal in the future. And interestingly enough, many Montessori elementary students and adolescents spend many months preparing for an annual event that's known as the Montessori Model United Nations, where each student serves as a delegate and focuses on the challenges of a specific country that they're assigned or that they choose. So they might be focusing on things like social justice, racial inequality, poverty, challenges with technology. So this MMUN program, that's what the acronym that it's often referred to, began in 2006 and involves year-long classroom and after-school studies. So children participate in writing papers and developing presentations, developing their stances on different issues. There are these mid-year working sessions and these social meetups where they get together with their global peers. And then the whole program culminates in what you see here, the photo at the top of the screen, which is this multi-day global education simulation experiment and experience that enables upper elementary and adolescent students to learn about how the UN operates and its role as the world's largest international peacekeeping and humanitarian organization. This event helps children learn about other cultures and peoples of nations around the world, to debate current global issues and world problems, to understand the need and for peace, and also helps them learn how to think creatively about solving problems, not only amongst themselves, but in that really broader sense, right, of looking at the entire world and the problems that we face and how they, as the citizens of the future, might be able to think creatively to come up with solutions to those problems. I just wanted to take a little minute while we were talking about this and share a personal story that I think is a great representation of this. And going back to that initial quote from Dr. Maria Montessori, I think speaks to that. So the school where I worked for many, many years as a teacher and an associate head of school, they did participate in the MMUN at the upper elementary level. And a student that I worked really closely with, I actually was a tutor for this child after they left our school, actually up until the time that they were a sophomore in college. And some of the issues that he learned about and developed creative solutions for were related to technology when he participated in the MMUN as an upper elementary student. And interestingly enough, now as almost a college graduate, are some of the same issues that he is studying and developing some of his research for as a college student on topics related to cybersecurity. That it fueled a passion for him. And that's what he hopes to do now for his career, is to work in the area of cybersecurity and really find ways to embrace this idea of peacefulness and safety and security, because he feels that technology is so powerful and so useful, but there is this need for this added layer of protection. So I really think that from a personal perspective, this story represents what Dr. Montessori had to say about how this time for children in their early years of education can really lay the foundation for helping them learn how to be peaceful citizens throughout their lives, and how that can really lead to what we hope to achieve for a peaceful world. The next area that I wanted to introduce and take a look at was the idea of cultural studies. So Dr. Maria Montessori emphasized the importance of the study of the world in which we live. So regardless of the child's age or their classroom level, so whether it's early childhood, toddler, the elementary age, adolescents, children are given lessons and study about the world around them. Obviously, the extent to which they dive deeply into these topics depend on their age, but it will start with things like looking at a continent map, looking at a globe, and looking at, where there's land and where there's water. They study the flags of the world. They learn about different people from all over the world, the food that they eat, the houses that they live in, the different activities that they participate in for leisure, land forms and water forms that exist around the world, popular landmarks in different places around the world as well. So Montessori classrooms really study and celebrate these things, different holidays, right? In order to really instill this sense of tolerance, respect, appreciation, acknowledgement for people who are the same and who are different than oneself. And it really is just so beautiful how it creates this welcoming, embracive community. Many Montessori schools and classrooms also celebrate what's known as Peace Day, or the International Day of Peace, which is celebrated annually on September 21st. Schools will do different activities. It might be something like practicing yoga, walking in a parade, a peace parade. They might make beautiful artwork that is related to or represents peace. They might enjoy a picnic out in nature together to commemorate the occasion. And many join together to sing this beautiful song that's called Light a Candle for Peace, which I would like to take a moment to share with you now.
At New South, we know your home is your sanctuary, your place for safety and security.
Light a candle for peace, light a candle for love, light a candle that shines all the way around the world. Light a candle for me, light a candle for you, that our wish for world peace will one day come true. Light a candle for peace, light a candle for love, light a candle that shines all the way around the world. Light a candle for me, light a candle for you, that our wish for world peace will one day come true. Sing peace around the world. Sing peace around the world. Sing peace around the world.
I get chills every time I listen to it. And as magical as it sounds listening to the video, it's equally, if not more powerful, listening to children sing it. And I've, been to different schools where it's something that they do on a daily basis, something that they all come together as a community for and stand around a candle that's lit. There's different hand gestures or sign languages that they incorporate for some communities. Some people kind of embrace this idea on a daily basis without singing the song and just have a peace candle that they light each day. And they take a few moments as a group and just sit quietly with their eyes closed. And the children are asked to think about peaceful thoughts and to think about ways to be kind and to make the world a more peaceful place. And so it really is just this idea of embracing the idea of peace in a really, I think, magical and transformative way for children. It always wants to give me a hard time of getting out of the presentation. Give me just a second. I'm going to stop my sharing so that I can move past this slide. It just wants me to keep showing the song over and over again. Okay, and I will share my screen again and we'll keep going. So I wanted to close again with a quote from Maria Montessori that I really believe just speaks volumes about the importance of incorporating peace education into the work that we do with children, regardless of whether that's in the classroom or in the home or maybe outside in the broader community. So Maria Montessori said, establishing peace is the work of education. And as Gandhi reminds us, if we are to teach real peace in this world, we shall have to begin with the children. These statements are simple, really straightforward, and yet so meaningful. So I hope that you find some inspiration in that and it guides your future work with the children in your lives, and knowing that we can embrace these simple ways to help children learn what it means to be peaceful so that we can make a huge impact on finding peace as a global society as well. I like to offer some ways that you can find some additional information if you're interested, because there's so much to learn, not just about Montessori, but just in general. So if you're interested in learning more about peace education, I encourage you to take a look at some of the following resources. I have a couple different pages here. So the first book that's shown is that Education and Peace collection that I discussed earlier in the presentation. So these are a collection of speeches from Maria Montessori herself that she delivered at international congresses and peace councils in Europe. It's a collection of public addresses where she expresses how she's coming to grips with the problem of the future of humanity. And she really gives this passionate expression about her insight on how education is what's necessary and what it should look like in order to help the world achieve peace. The next book on this slide is called The Peace Table, and this is by Mary DePrato. Mary is a diploma holder from the Association Montessori International. And in this book, she outlines peace education practices introduced and reinforced in the Montessori early childhood classroom specifically, so that 3 to 6 age range. The next couple pages are some really great books for introducing peace to children. So the first we mentioned in the presentation is The Peace Rose by Alicia Jewell. It consists of 3 everyday problem-solving vignettes that are modeled with clear, simple language to help to introduce this skill of solving problems with a peace object, in this case with a single rose. The second is entitled What is Peace? And this is a compilation of images and words of peace from primary and elementary school students themselves of Shining Stars Montessori Academy Public Charter School in Washington, D.C. So it's really neat. It allows children to really connect with it in a really unique and meaningful way because it's authored and illustrated by children. Similarly, along those same lines, the third resource is called A Peaceful Classroom, and it's by Aline D. Wolf. Again, illustrated by Montessori school children from around the globe. And it showcases Montessori classrooms as students see them. It talks about the order, the serenity, how they respect others, the care for the environment that they show, and the appreciation of lots of different cultures and ways of being. That really is the hallmark of Montessori. Just a couple more. There's so many resources, so it was hard to limit them. The first here is called I Offer You Peace. Again, it's by Eileen Wolf, who is made such an impact in the Montessori community. Sadly, she recently passed. But this is something a lot of Montessori classrooms use when they light that candle each day. They might do this or recite this, what they call the Peace Pledge. So it's a short recitation, I was having a hard time getting that out, about peace with hand gestures for children. So it says, I offer you peace, I offer you love, I offer you friendship. So it's just a really beautiful way that they gather in community and express a sense of peace together. The next book is Peace as an Offering by Annette Labox, and it's a short, comforting poem about how neighborhood friends find peace in everyday things, things like the sunlight shining through the leaves, cookies shared with friends. I think this is a great one because it really helps children discover that peace is all around if you just look for it. It doesn't have to be some grand gesture. It doesn't have to be, you know, some grandiose feat that seems unachievable. Peace can be found in these little everyday moments. It's like when I was talking about stepping back and observing and just seeing what's going right, what makes you smile, right? And finally, A Little Peace by Barbara Curley is a great option, particularly I think for the elementary classroom and even adolescents. It's a National Geographic children's book that has these really richly evocative and thought-provoking pictures that showcase this peaceful view of the world. There are some really wise words and moving images within it that offer this unique, enriching experience where children are able to really help start to embrace the power that comes with peace and really embody that so they can make the world a more peaceful place. And before I open it up, I know we have about 15 more minutes or so together. So before I open it up to questions, I just wanted to say thank you again to AIU for this opportunity. Thank you all for being here, whether it was your first time or you've been here for several classes with me. I appreciate you all coming. I have my contact information here. If you have any questions or something that we're not able to get to during our time together today, please feel free to send me an email. And I'd also love if you were to check out my website and follow me on social media. My handle on Instagram and Facebook is shown here along with my logo. And thank you once again.